All right, guys, you ready? Should we start jamming? All right. First off, thank you everybody for coming, those online and in person. Today we're talking about how do we bring value to our database, right? So in the past few years, we've all had the privilege of not having to do all of the things that we need to do today. One of the things that's extremely valuable in the market that's press is it makes us really focus on doing the right things and have it sustain us. If we do that, we can find our business down market once things pick up and loosen up and start to pick off. So what we did is we gathered a panel of experts here. Thank you guys for coming and taking part. People that are running really high-level touch systems and campaigns with their clients. And we're going to just kind of dig into their brains and get in their heads and see what they're doing and what they're having success with. And just so you guys know, if you haven't attended a panel of mine before, I like to keep it super interactive. So if you guys have something that you want to say, you guys have a question that you want to ask, something you want clarity on, just raise your hand and I'll see. Oh. All right. Well, let's start by giving them a round of applause for our panel. All right. Cool. So let's dig in. Let's just start. Let's just go down the line, starting with Krista at the end. And let's just tell us a little bit about your business. Tell us a little bit about your team.
Yeah, Krista Forsberg. I'm out of the Edina office. I've been an agent for 2.5 years, and I'm forecasting about 14 years. I don't have a team, but I do work with a transaction coordinator and then have what I call a cast of characters that I tap into for video production, social media, and additional marketing.
I'm Brent Johnson. I'm out of the Edina office. I've been in real estate for 30 years. Weird to say out loud.
30 years.
Yeah, it was just a temporary job. I was doing it until I went to grad school.
That's how most of us got into business, right?
And I liked it. My numbers are very similar to Krista's. And I have a transaction coordinator. I use Profile, and I started using some of their Plus. They're doing some database help with me as I'm transitioning back onto the band.
Awesome. Right. Ellie.
I'm Ellie Christian. I'm out of that Otsego office. Me and one admin. The average over the last 5 years, about 25 transactions a year. Last year we did 54, 18. And use yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
My name is Sarah Moss. I am with the Youth Group. We're out of Minneapolis 6 office, but we've got a satellite office located in downtown Minneapolis. Our seat is downtown Minneapolis. I'm probably unique to this panel. I'm actually not a producing agent. I've been with the group 7 years as a I've been keeping up time. So last year we did 105 million, I think. Part of that volume was our new construction division. We sell condos that were built last year in Minneapolis. But that side of the we did, I think it was 39 million in volume last year. Agent, 3 times admin and marketing staff, myself, and a third party. Again, like various video, photography, vendors.
Got it.
I'm Bethany Nelson. I lead the Bethany Nelson Real Estate Group out of this office, and we have a team of 5 agents in addition to myself, and 1 full-time director of operations, and then a part-time admin as well. And we'll do a little over 100 team. And I've been in 12 years.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. obviously different ranges of production, teams, solo agents, but I think what I'm interested in, what I'm excited to dive in is what are some similarities and what are some differences that you guys are doing in operating your business, your database. So let's start. I mean, let's start from the beginning. I jump in, I don't have a database. I might have an Excel spreadsheet or something of the sort. I think there's a lot of agents out there that still are operating off of similar types of databases. But what's the first step that you did to get started? And let's start with Brent.
So I predate most technology,
Yeah.
which is weird. But when I joined, my dad was a realtor, and so all of my friends and family already had a realtor.
Yeah.
So I defined my people. And I happened to come out of youth ministry. That's what my background was. And so I started hitting, I just started being involved at a really basic friend level with people I had come into contact with through my ministry connection. So I was working with tons of there's a lot of money in youth ministry. So these are wealthy individuals. I was selling $40,000 and $50,000 and $60,000 houses, but found my place and found my people. And I started with, we did a Memorial Day party and then invited everybody that I knew and talked a little bit about my real estate and then started to do some follow-up stuff with my clients that I had. My clients were really, really loyal and talked about me a lot. So then I started collecting their names, and that's literally I had a paper copy of my people.
Like pen and paper, just writing it
Yeah,
down.
and I would just
Yeah.
had addresses and phone numbers and like a day timer, and that literally was what it was. And I was just in contact with them. They were my friends. It's easy to be in contact with them regularly. Sent out Christmas newsletters, just kind of normal stuff that you just do with your friends anyway. But then I just sort of doubled up on how many things they were getting from me. I've done things like mail and forget-me-not seeds in the spring and weird stuff like that. But the big things have been events and the advertising around events. That's kind of been consistent through my whole career.
Events.
Yeah.
How many do you do every year?
Initially I was doing 4, where Krista and I are, so Krista is who I will eventually turn my business over to. So we're trying to build a parallel business. So we do the same things. It gives us economy of scale, so we can do some things that would be too expensive to try alone. Like
Someone helps plan.
yeah, right. Well, and we have different gifts on that. So it's really a lot of fun, honestly. So, but eventually all of my clients will know Krista because they're going to see Krista. And so that's kind of how we're building it that way. But now we're up to 6, and I think we probably will continue to expand, where we'll have maybe 6 big events, maybe 6 small things, but it'll be an event every.
Right. Awesome. Ellie. Okay. Ellie, you're up.
Okay, so what's the question?
The question was starting out, what was the first kind of entry into database? Like, how did you start with? How did you get in? Were you using command right away? What were the first steps to start doing it?
Yeah, we used to spend a lot of money on our database, and putting people in program that we used to do. But don't spend money on it, especially if you're just starting out. Starting out, I think it's just easiest to start with your phone. You have in your phone that you already have relationships with friends and family that like you. We also do events, so there's 3 ways events can get together. We really capitalized on pairing up with a nonprofit for events and raising money, but really not even making it about the contact or us getting out of it, but just really making it about the community and everything that we do. So starting paper, demand is a great resource. If you have time to put it down on a paper, you have time to type it in. And
So put time, 5 in a day.
Bethany.
John Maxwell says systems make the ordinary extraordinary, and Frank, like, there's no perfect system. So I think when starting, it is pick one. I've watched myself and other people jump around thinking this is everything, and it's not. So what Nelly said, like, putting everybody down is obviously super important, but then get them in a system, have a system. And the other thing too is I think that as this, so if you aren't doing anything right now, don't compare yourself. Like you might not be able to use right now. So start with 1, start with 2, and partner with other people. It doesn't have to be 2. We used to leverage a lot of market center events, like our market center would come together and like a shred event for people, their documents, shred them, and whatever. And we didn't have to carry that cost by ourselves because there was a community of realtors together. So just want to say, like, don't leave today. Like, I don't think any of us want you to leave today with like, oh, I can't do that because it's, or think that you need to go plan 6 events here. Like, this happened over time. I haven't been in business as long as Brent, but it's been, 12 years is still a long time. I'd say I grew up in real estate, and what I'm sharing today, we change every year. Like, we build off of that. So remind yourself to, like, give yourself freedom to build as you go.
Love that. That's great advice. And if you guys didn't hear it, events don't have to be expensive. They don't. We'll hear events. You think of like the most lavish event that you went to, and that's going to be my customer appreciation day. It doesn't have to be anything like that, right? You can do things cheap. You can tag on market center. You can tag on with other people. You can do community events. You can invite people to events that are already going on. There's a lot of things.
Our Memorial Day party, though we went a little insane toward the end, but people bring their own food. We were gathering on my backyard.
Yeah.
Now, eventually we had live music and some other stuff and jumpers and all this stuff, but for the most part, it cost me, enough water for 100 people. And sometimes, and then I would eventually, like, over the grilling, so we would provide.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is nothing to prevent you from inviting your 40 best friends or best clients or 40 people to have a potluck picnic in your backyard.
Right.
I agree.
We're to the point now where our events are huge, and our goal still is to make it cost less. How can we get our vendors to pay for the entire thing? We know, there's enough people in the community that want to partner to meet your contacts, meet your friends and family, enough vendors, for big contractors, whatever they be.
Very cool. Right, Sarah.
Yeah, so starting out with the database. So when I first came onto the team 7 years ago, I took over from the previous admin, and her systems were fine. So Cindy, our rainmaker, has been in business for 25 years, focusing on downtown, building for past client list. Before that, it was really just living in her head. When I came on board, the database was, a few spreadsheets with basically a list of addresses. There were no names, there were no sources. Maybe it said so-and-so referred them.
You said that's fine.
It was fine. Cindy built a great business over the years, and it was working, great. But I looked at those spreadsheets and said, well, we need to do this better. I started adding columns. Think of a column that you want to track everything. Where did they come from? Are they a repeat client? Did so-and-so refer them? Keep track of who refers you clients. And those people become your besties, your VIPs. Treat them well. Keep track of your names, even if it's just in spreadsheets. Track everything, their pets' names, their kids' names, their grandkids' names. How many times have they used you in the past, what are their mailing addresses? What are all of the properties they own, get their addresses. So when you mail to them, mail to every single address they own. And if that's your system right now, a spreadsheet, that's fine. We did that for many years. We did kind of jump around. We tried a CRM, we tried Command. It wasn't quite working for us. Just really invested in Chime, which is a pretty robust CRM. And so now our entire database is there, but for a very long time, we just operated. So if that's what we have right now, it's free, you can do a lot with it. If you want to track, then track it for every person. Fill in the information, get the information out of your phone, out of your head, into a system. Then when you are ready to invest in CRM, it's there, it's ready to be done, it's ready to be first.
So when I started with a spreadsheet. I downloaded all my clients, I don't know if you know this, but you can download all of your contacts out of Facebook and LinkedIn. A little bit of work, but you pull them all into a spreadsheet, birthdays, business, all of this great information that people have already. And so I was leveraging to do, calls, email marketing with my database. Since that time, I have tested a couple of different CRM systems. Right now, I use Follow-Up Boss, and wasn't the right choice for me either. And so I've migrated to that. It is a good system because it does track all of my communication with clients, but also lets me customize all the fields I want to gather information on. So I do capture his birth date, close date, all of those different things in my CRM. And I think to some of the other points that people made, I did start out with, reaching out to people that I had in my network, having coffee, sending thank you notes. That was really how I started building my business. But over time, I've added in video marketing, biweekly email communication. Now I'm doing 2 mailings on as well as the schedule that Brent and I work on together, and have real routine about how I make sure all of that happens for current clients, past clients, and prospects, and really have different work streams set up.
Okay, awesome. So it sounds like a lot of different things, but the same on how you guys started. Everybody, it's okay if you started on a spreadsheet, right? If you're using Excel, but we do have a free tool in Command. It's a lot more robust than it's been the last couple of years ago. So there's a lot of things that it can do in there. So start migrating this stuff. If you just start using the spreadsheet, start migrating stuff over so you can have the beginnings of a database. Let's move to the next question, guys. This one is just a real quick one. Just go down the line. How much of your business comes from your database? Is this or from your database? Just go down.
Of our 88 transactions last year, we can say that our database first 75 of them. A very high percentage. Last year, 60% of our business. This year, our current clients and closing 8%. That's actually was high the year before 2021. And that was good. We saw that as a good thing. Our marketing and our farming effort. We want them to be generating more new rather than, but the repeat number solid.
85% last year, but over the years, it's been 85 to.
And 90 to 95.
And I would say 85 to 90% of either clients that I've had in the past or their referrals. I do actually
Well, there's some pretty good numbers there. 75, 68, 85, 90, 95. That's solid. That's pretty well. Give us a little color on how you organize contacts and like what different functions you have to help organize it. Do you have different systems for?
So we are using pay. So we'll take our past clients, everything past the client referral. We'll take how, like, we want to, we do the teaching to, so we'll categorize each person by AW, we'll categorize them by a tag, AW. Calling. Okay.
No, the,
Oh, it's when you take, your contact and you categorize it by the first letter. So all the A's. And we didn't
So,
explain
I
this.
would say we do the same thing, which is why I was like, that's it. So the alphabet has how many characters? 26. So if you cut it in half, there's 13 weeks if you partner two letters together. So Keller Williams actually did the heavy lifting for us, and they figured out that they kind of took like the least amount of percentage of last names and the highest percentage. So like Ellie's point, A and W go together. So in 1 week, you call all your contacts with the last name that starts with A and the last name that starts with W. Because by putting them on that rotation, you're getting through your entire database 4 times a year if you put them on a quarter. So it's just a way to contact your people by phone, usually. 4 times. And Keller, like if you search ED2 within Command, you'll find it. It's on a schedule for same thing.
Yeah, and once you get your contacts in there and you're gonna enter each of them anyway, take them with that up front, it's gonna make it a lot easier. So I think just there's things that we've learned along the way too. I have my A+ people. Those are the people that Sarah was talking about. They're the ones that are they have referred. They're your people that you're like, oh, I can count on them. If they talk to somebody about real estate, they're going to be property. They're an A+, or an A is somebody who thinks will buy or sell with you in the next 3 to 5 years. And so breaking it down by that as well, we've taken each contact and said, which ones are the ones that I can rely on, and which ones, do I think, and then I can maybe invite them to a more prestigious event than that. They'll be maybe for the free community event that may not ever get it.
So you're loading on the E+ regular. Yeah.
I have copies of them or dinner.
Right, Brent.
So for a while, I was in business with my dad. We had the same assistant who fortunately, but unfortunately, mashed our databases together. And so part of the reason I'm getting special help paying for it is to help cull through all of the names, 1,500 people, getting it down to the 500 that I know are mine. There were a lot of weird captures that happened. I've been running my own little tiny database that I can keep track of. Now, as I'm getting back into Command, getting help to sort of cull through all that. They're helping me tag, categorize. My tags are that work that well, which I think is pretty well. I've been doing that for about 6 weeks. Can't say enough about it. It's a great system. I wish I was the last 28 years. So that consistent contact has been great, but I'm also tagging for, like, I have what's called my great big thanks. Those are the people that are my top recent clients and return clients and admins who are pumping my name out to everybody. Those are the people that are doing my special programs, special things. They get the invites to everything. That's how I take care of them. So yeah, I would see a lot of work.
Eric, just a little bit on like.
Yeah, so I mentioned before, our business is heavily
heavily based on farming. Having a business in the downtown market. We have to, region, we can't door knock, we don't have signs, condo buildings. Can't put a sign up. So our business is based on farming. So we mail very heavily, always on mailers, and that is a core part of our lead gen. So we have a database of a mailing list of probably total 500 people, different addresses, or buildings, target which buildings we mail to, and we mail different campaigns to them. So at a just very basic level, if we don't know them, they're non-met, but we have their address, we put the mail list, pull the farm, and we mail to them at least 12 times a year. We track how many times each building gets a mailer from us every year, and we analyze that. We analyze our market share at the end of the year and say, okay, we did not have dominant market share in that building last year. How many mailers? Oh, we only mailed them that many times. And so we've learned over the years that the building minimum 9 times a year, we can have a change. So our goal is 12. So at a bare minimum, if we just have the address, they get a touch from us. If we have their email address, we send out a weekly email newsletter every Saturday. We call it our Saturday email internally. And started that in 2017, and that has become really popular actually. Email newsletter, our listings, some blog content, downtown happening. And so if you have your email address, you're hearing from us every single day. So if live in our farm and we have your email address, that's productive a year with our mailer. If you're a client, if you are client or referred, you're going to get invited to talk about special events. So ideally, if we've met you, or at least we have your email address, get here. But there are also 4 events in the year to sponsor the Dilton Farmers Market. So we do a giveaway every quarter. Just had one this past weekend. We gave away 3 birds from a greenhouse. So hopefully, if you're a past client, you come to our events, you in person 4 times a year. Plus we have a storefront right on the street in our neighborhood. Always walking by, I count that as one extra touch, but that's infinity touches. If you have a dog and you're walking by, you're always whatever. And then past clients, our agents, we just kind of leave that up to them to make sure they send them a happy anniversary text or happy birthday text or call, handwritten card. They do get a handwritten card from our admin team. So total 72 touches a year for kind of that highest tier. Your past client, we close something with us before we have your email address and we have your address. 72 before maybe 52, just have your email address. Probably non-max. The year will eventually realize, oh, I want to sign up for their newsletter. I want to follow them on social media. Well, they'll move up and that's come to the farmers. Jake.
Very, obviously the downtown market is different.
Yeah.
Right? It's very, very heavy. Vertical. Not being able to have because you're there.
Yes, that's why we have the storefront, and that's huge. And obviously not every real estate agent can have that, but that's intentional. Try to play off that touch and be a presence in the neighborhood. And even if you can't physically be a presence in the neighborhood, there are ways you can virtually somewhere get your logo. Really.
Krista, yes, yeah.
Do you know what percentage of return you get on the mailers that you're just
farming. Do you guys keep track of that or?
Yeah, percentage, it's tough. We do track lead sources and, the mailers and general farming efforts are always a top, lead source every year when you look at the ROI. But it depends on how much you spend. We do spend a lot on mailers. These are some examples. And so we spend a lot, we invest a lot. But
We
it's,
want to pass those around.
yeah, for sure, it's always generating, quite a lot of here. Yeah, this is our, everyone in our database gets this once a year. This is our annual collection book.
Pass that around as well. Krista, can you tell us what's a complete contact to you? What constitutes having the most complete contact with the pieces of information that you would want?
Yeah, so when I think about people that are what I would call communicate with, I'm gonna obviously know their name, their address, their email, their phone number. They, I'd like to know if they're married, not married, who their spouses, if they have kids, if they have pets. And I use that information as I'm thinking about, kids. I have clients that have dogs for now. One of the things I'll organize to do is actually a dog name tag with their new address. So as they think about neighborhood, we're thinking, or if I know they've got kids, I'll make sure I'm not giving their custom clothing family. Maybe the kids, depending on their ages, are getting a dinosaur toy because I know we talked about that as we were going.
Okay, that's a really good idea. Yeah, that's
It's just a fun touch. You got if you're and you learn if they're right.
right. 100%. Okay. So next question, how do we communicate with our contact? Some of us answered this a little bit, how we communicate with contact. More so, what do you say? Really? Am I right? From a phone call standpoint?
I do use the A to Z method. That is kind of a common practice, but I use it on the letter per week. And so I'm touching twice a year.
I see her.
And I really use the board model for that. If you think about clients that you have been talking to on a regular basis, you're going through the home buying or selling process, you're having all those conversations. It's super easy to call them up and say, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you in so long. What's going on with your family? And they tell you, oh my gosh, are you still at Target? A little bit more information about what they're at their job. Oh my gosh, what are you guys doing for vacation this year? Are you guys playing softball again with all the kids? Any big plans? Doing remodeling, and all of a sudden I've got all of this other information that I've put in my database.
Go with Brent.
I do a huge amount of my contacting, initial contacts, Facebook and social media. And I was a pretty early adopter of that. Best thing I do is every day I spend hours plowing through what people are up to. And I'll instant message them or text them, hey, I saw you guys are in Iowa. That's so amazing. The corn beautiful right now. But just wanted to check in and say hi. What's exciting in your life? They'll respond because they will, and it might be 3 days later. That's what I love about instant messaging and text, which I think sort of lost early on in all social media push. That you can have a conversation that takes 5 days, but it's a really good conversation. It's not just leaving them a generic voicemail or email saying, oh, do you know anybody who's wanting to buy or sell the house? Like, hey, how you doing? And then they can get back to you when they can get back to you. Because they want their little number to go away on the little notification. They're like, so that's how I do that. And then I'll follow up with a phone call and say, hey, it was great chatting with you. It's taking too long. I wasn't getting back to you as fast as I thought I'd be a call and just check it. that starts. I've got some of the board stuff already. So I can dive in.
Bethany. Say.
Depends on when and how much time I have. So I'll pass this around too, but I actually was a market strategy leader for 2.5 years. And when I did that, I did data production and I had a small team. And my thought process was our entire business had been built on my database. So I was like, how do I make sure that I'm still top of mind so that the business doesn't slow down even though I'm not in the day-to-day production? And created this calendar, which has evolved over the years. So this is what it looks like now. But we work with like local artists that donate their artwork and like put their stuff, their information in here. But we intentionally have all our events pre-planned here. And this is actually just as much for our accountability as it is for our clients, because then it's like, we've told them we're gonna do this, so we better freaking do it. And we do in-person events and then also social media events. So every summer we give away a Yeti cooler. And it's one of our most popular events where we get people our koozie. So every year our new koozie comes out and it has our logo on one side. And on the other side, it's like a fun Minnesota type image. Like last year it was literally the outline of the state, I think, and like a heart in the middle or something. And people then have to take a picture with our koozie and tag us in it. And then we take all those photos and we do this contest. So here's what's cool. How they win the Yeti cooler is their picture has to get the most likes. Well, how do they do that? They have to share our posts with their database, their people, their Facebook friends. And so now all of a sudden, all these people, like we literally have people call us sometimes and they're like, I don't know how I'm connected to you, but I started following you on social media. And it's because of some of these things where then they like, our database pushes it out to their database. So a lot of the time we're calling regarding our events to be really direct. I love to call people and intentionally have a sales conversation. And I think one of the challenges that realtors have is, and maybe you felt this way, is people will say, I don't want to sound salesy when we call our database. Well, I actually think what that means is I don't want to sound inauthentic. And so how do you sound inauthentic? It's you're skirting around what you actually need. So instead, just call them, check in, and then say, hey, this is a business conversation. Like, I'm just curious, do you have any real estate goals here? No? Okay, no problem. Do you know anyone that does? Because this market's really confusing. Is there someone in your life that I could help today? And by saying that, it's very direct, but you don't feel inauthentic because you're actually saying, like, this is what I'm calling about. And I personally think that people want to talk to. You don't want a crappy salesperson selling your most valuable asset. So people want people that are authentic, know what they're talking about, and are going to be direct with them. So we have that phone call a lot too, like, hey, what are your real estate related goals? Is there anything that we can serve you or anyone you know? The last thing I'll share too is we've done now a couple of these and they've worked really well. And you can partner with other agents to do this. So we do it as a team, but you can partner with people. And we do a call-in contest. So for Mother's Day, we had people call us to enter for a chance to win a spa package. And they got the spa package in time for Mother's Day. And my outbound call, even though it was a call-in contest, I was still making outbound calls. And I would jokingly, my script was, hey, Brent, I don't know if you saw on social media, but we're doing a call-in contest today. And secretly, it's my way of reminding you that Mother's Day is on Sunday, right? Because then they're kind of chuckling. They're like, oh yeah, shit, like Mother's Day is Sunday. I should figure something out, right? So just a fun way to connect with your database. And part of that conversation also is, do you know someone that needs our help this year? So.
I think the biggest piece that resonated there is to be authentic. You know, when we're calling, feel like you might be bugging them. Oh, I don't want to bug you. I don't want, these are my friends. These are my people. I don't want them to think I'm trying to sell them something. Well, we are. I mean, we all, that's how we make a living, right?
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If I own an ice cream shop, right, and I was calling people and trying to promote it, hey, you know what? Thursday there's free samples for you to buy. I'd love to see you. I'd love to have you come visit. There's nothing wrong with that. right? That's something very unique to you. So if you're being authentic with what it is that you're trying to do, I think that so
The fear of inauthentic actually makes you more authentic, right? Like if you're trying to skirt around it, you actually sound like a bigger fool than if you just straight up say, they know you're in business. And the reality is your friends and family should want you to be successful. I always joke when people are like, do I get the friends and family discount? And I joke and I say, no, actually, I'm going to charge you extra. Right? Because you should want me to be successful. I want you to be successful, right? So it's like,
write that down.
you just have to know your script. And I think that's the other piece is people don't want to script practice. They're like, then it's not going to sound like me. No, if you have your scripts down, you can make any weird conversation actually very purposeful. We play a game on our team on how many leads I can bring in from coffee shops and bars. Because every time I go out, like I'm literally like, who's the next lead I'm going to bring in to the team? And I text in Slack everyone, like, hey, I just picked up a server that wants to buy a house. And I give it to someone on the team, but it's a game.
Awesome. Good advice there. Sarah, tell us, do you get buy-in from people before you input them into the database? Sometimes, all the time. Yes?
Yeah, if they contact us for anything and we get their email, they're added right away. They immediately start getting emails. About if you visit a website, email in. We're gonna start it. So it's expected. And also I mentioned our farmers market event. Point of those events is to gather emails. We don't just give away things for nothing. They have to give us their email address. And if we don't already have it in our system, a lot of times we do, they're just like, oh, we always get your email, but then a lot of times too, and you know, there's always people who just scribble it because they don't want to be contacted. They just want to take their leave. But so this past weekend, Mother's Day weekend, Saturday morning, I think I had about 100 people come by the booth for their free verb, and I think we added 32 genuinely like good new emails to our database from that one Saturday. So is that a lot? No, but we'd rather focus on quality. And once those people want to hear from us, they've been hearing from us. Obviously, they knew about the or giveaway somehow. They're already, you know, getting our mail. So we mail an invite to our entire 5,000 count farm. So they get a little postcard invite. You're invited. It's our neighborhood appreciation event. We don't call it an appreciation event. Not a client appreciation event. It's for the whole neighborhood. We want people who don't already know us to come. And they have to give their email to get for free. And do social media giveaways too. Like another event that we sponsor is the Minneapolis St. Paul Film Festival. That's at the St. Anthony, Maine in the spring. Theater's called something new now. It's not. But anyways, we're sponsors, so we get a block of tickets for the film festival, and so we'll give away 2 tickets every day for 2 weeks leading up to the film fest. And in order to do it, you've got to DM your email or whatever. You set the parameters. You've got to tag a friend, share the post, DM us your email, whatever. Then you're entered. In reality, we have enough tickets to give away to everyone who enters. We're not picking one. So if you DM us your email, great, you get a ticket. Because whatever, tickets are cheap. So yeah, we make people buy in, and if someone contacts us, we have a database going back 7 years from when I started cleaning it up. Where if you've ever contacted us for any reason, you're
Great. Anybody else? Do you have a specific way of getting buy-in? Fine, Sally.
So we use commands landing pages. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those, but so each month we partner big on our communities. We partner with another local business. So usually our favorite coffee shop or favorite spa, and we ask them to do the giveaway. And so they get the contact as well as us. So we're sharing those with them. It's getting them exposure. We're highlighting them for the whole month. We're doing live video. We're posting little things called like stopped in there for coffee. be there on Monday morning if anyone wants to join us. But you can register. So for instance, we're doing the coffee shop this month and they're giving away each week free coffee for somebody that registers for our landing page. So we ask them for their email and their phone number, and it goes directly into our database. And the win-win for our local vendor, they're sharing our posts. So we're getting out in front of all of their people. But that's our big one. I mean, we're getting 40 contacts a month just through their giveaway.
Okay.
So it's no cost to us.
Okay, awesome. They got no cost over there. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's got a couple more questions to cruise through. We got 10 minutes left. We want to leave some time for questions. So asking for referrals, right? That's the big thing that really freaks people out, is how do we ask for a referral? You know, from someone, I don't want to push too hard. How do I do it? You kind of alluded a little bit to it. But let's hear some different perspectives on how do we we're talking to our people, how do we ask them, they know the benefit, get value out of things that bring them. Sarah, you want to start?
Sure, although I'll say, I don't know if we're the best at asking for referrals. Everything we do is really well automated. Our director of client experience sends out, pre-closing, closing, thank you emails, thank you note cards. Actually, recently we realized we were not as strong on two things: asking for referrals and asking for use testimonials a lot in our marketing and in our book. So we decided we were going to first get better at asking for testimonials, and then get better at asking for referrals. So one thing that we did is we used to ask for testimonials and just insert ask for referrals just at the same time. We were asking for a testimonial after a close, and it was, thank you so much for working with us. We'd love to, hear about how you felt about our service. Could you write a testimonial or looking for that? We have started asking for that before close now, after a process pending, and we've had a lot of results of that after. And ask them when they're happy, not when they're stressed out. So we have gotten our asking for a testimonial process down, and we're gonna make with that for referrals. But when referrals come in, it's easy to get asked.
I actually start asking for referrals at my first meeting with clients. So when I'm sitting down and I'm having that buyer consult or selling a listing presentation, as part of that process, I talk about how my business is built, and it's on referral. And usually I've gotten that new client because of one of their friends. So I'm able to reference, say, oh, because Jeff introduced me to you. That's a great example of how I was able to work with him. I want you to know that's the kind of service I want to give you throughout this entire transaction, because that's how I continue to grow my. And then I do have a referral process. So after every closing, 2 weeks after I'm asking for referrals, kind of thing, and just check in and see how their processes went, to see if they need anything. And then when I'm having those calls with people, I am, making the ask of, do you know that help here? And then all of my mailing, my postcards go out to my clients. Have a
Great.
I quick add,
Yeah.
we do, I believe you have to teach people how to refer you. Like, I think a lot of people don't even know how to give you a referral. And we just purposely taught people. So if people say, oh, well, my cousin is thinking about buying, your immediate response should be, awesome. Would you be willing to start a group text between your cousin and I? Because what I've learned is, depending on the age group, usually they're more comfortable doing a group text production than just like giving you their contact for you to call them. I've never had anyone say no. So then it's like a group text is started. The other thing that we do is every quarter, I don't know if there's brokers in the room, so if you are a broker, plug your ears, but we do a quarterly VIP box. And we give the VIP box to people that gave us referrals in that quarter. And we actually have people literally purposely try to give us referrals in different months because they want every VIP box. And the VIP box always includes, these are the things that like our values are based on. Flag item of ours, so something they're going to keep that has our logo and brand on it. A wealth building book, because that's a huge part of our business, teaching how people how to build wealth in real estate. And then a local business item. So we sponsor, and we buy them at full price. And I actually intentionally have that conversation with the business owner that I don't want a discount. I want to support your business, right? Friends and family should pay extra. And then they're contacted.
With your broker.
Like, yeah, I want to piggyback on that a little bit.
Yeah, if your broker is going to say not to do that. So
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
I'll piggyback on that. You do have to train people. Here's now, if give a thank you gift to everyone who gives you a referral, that's above board. But don't, how we do it, is we
Which
don't
is how we do it
advertise,
also.
we don't advertise that we give a gift if you give us a referral. We aim for surprise and delight, send them a package of something that we know they'll love, or, a gift card, to a restaurant near their house, the thank you for referring, and it's just something really, really special. Get a custom scented candle, things like that, send them really nice gifts so that you're surprising them. Oh, well, I got this.
It is a price.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. How many of us have gotten a phone call from somebody who's like, hey, I see you're out there crushing it. Like I see you on social media, you're doing such a good job. I don't know if you have any time, but I might need, I'm thinking about doing this to somebody you can refer me to that can help me with this thing. You're talking about buying a house? Yeah. So training them on how to pass a referral and that you are accepting clients is important. All the stuff that we put out there makes them see us as way successful and they feel like they're calling Mark Cuban or something. You know what I mean?
And train them on what kind of business they can do. Our business, part of our niche is luxury real estate downtown, but we don't sell it all. Price not, they're not going to turn out price. Condo. And it has happened before where a VIP client has said, oh, my son just bought a and well, you sell luxury. So it's down. So you have to, put out in your marketing all price points, everything. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't only make it seem like you're successful or you're only working with clients or in certain areas or whatever your business may be. Just be out there. And I will work. Well, here's the areas that we service. Here are the types of things that we really.
And your team, my team includes Ellie Christian. Because I've sent business to Ellie where I don't feel like driving an hour and it's in her neighborhood. I know Ellie's going to do an amazing job for them. Find strategic partnerships with people in different offices. You can refer them out. I have one client who I have only sold him one house, but I've been paid from 4 of his deals. He worked with other people before he ever worked with me, but because we knew each other socially, and I interviewed agents for him in California, in Phoenix, and in North Carolina, then they moved here. And so he only worked with me one time, but I've been already paid 3 times. Because I also did the time and effort to look for somebody who would treat them well. And I know that when I hand somebody off to Ellie, they're going to get at least the service, probably better than what I'd be able to. Certainly than if I had to drive an hour and a half to show them a house.
So it's a really, really good point, just being that sticky point for clients. Even I've heard of, outside of real estate, having you, or whatever it is that they need. I know a lot of agents are, call me if you need a landscape or a remodel, or if you need a lawyer for something. I find our jobs are to be very sticky in our communities and to know everybody and communicate, deal with the best of the best. So being that sticky for your clients.
When you have a good
deal with another real estate agent. Maybe they're, up north, they're usually, they're at a Brainerd and you want to send them a thank you card.
Yeah.
For a great transaction and let them know how much it meant to you. They're gonna remember you, they have a referral, they don't. But building that vendor relationship in all aspects, maybe it's a loan officer that you've had a really great transaction with, you love their communication style, send them a thank you, add them to your database and touch them because they might have referrals, they want to pass you because they might.
All right, guys, almost out of time here, so we'll end with last question. What advice would you give to those out there sitting, watching this, like, man, I really see a lot of value in doing it, I really want to get to that level. Yeah. How do I start?
So I guess I have two. My first one is just do it, right? Like I think you can spend the next 6 months planning, or you can spend energy. And I think the other part of that is really come up on, especially when you're self-conscious or parents about what make it good. I'm telling you, like, about what you're saying. It's just not have to be perfect over time. Iterate, add things to, and then to a point where you've got all of the touches.
The hashtag 90.
Yeah.
Right, Brent.
Find more people that aren't your spouse or in real estate that want to be successful. Make them your board of directors. Have them hold you accountable. Things you promise. Lay out your business plan for them. Say, this is what I'm going to do next quarter. You can take them out to dinner as a group and make them feel really important for you. All on phone calls or whatever. But if you have 4 people, and add to them as you go along the way. You are raving fans, of course. Ask them to sit on your board of directors. Do that, they will advocate for you without you asking, even when they know what you're doing. So let's see what we can kind of see. When they find out, they're amazed and amazed.
That's, I actually have not heard that. Ellie.
Calendar, if you don't put feeding your database on your calendar, it will never get fed and never be created.
2 things, track everything, track often, track early, get it out of your, start tracking everything. It will return whatever you do. Take it first. Track whether it's hard, do they like the breed, your dog, a child, they like cars, send them personal thing, be authentic, that, and that they're interested in anything you do. So, the other thing is, like Chris said, just start do spreadsheet. When we started our weekly email newsletter, we didn't really do it. Sent an email newsletter regularly before, and we didn't start weekly. We started monthly, and it was, first month they amazing and perfect. No, absolutely not. We didn't have the staff, the graphic designer to do that as well, but we just started it and it grew with time. Now we've been doing. We just said, okay, let's do monthly to weekly. What's that going to be? Start with something and make it better. Perfect. It's never going to be perfect.
Before anyone joins our team, they have to have a list of 200 names, one form of contact information. And I've watched people put that list together. And so I know it's possible, especially if the pressure is put on. So I would say give yourself 1 or 2 weeks and create a list of 200 people. Because on an effective 36 touch campaign, that 200 people should produce 20 transactions. So do the math on that. If your average commission is, let's just say on a $300,000 sales price, 3% commission, $9,000, I think is that commission, 9 times 20, that's a lot of money. And if you can say, hey, I could make that amount of money by committing to making a list of 200 names in the next week, you'd be silly not to, right? So I would just say start with 200, and then actually the biggest metrics I track is how many people have we added to our database. Last year we hit a huge milestone by having 1,000 households that we mail to, but I know that we'll have 100 transactions from that 1,000 households this year because we've been over last year by getting to 1,000.
Great advice. Do we have any questions from the audience before we wrap up?
So I do DT2 also, and I just want your opinion on when you do phone calls and the husband and the wife are in one group. Do you guys call both of them? Do you call them both in the same week, same day?
I tell them I'm calling the other one. Like, here's the thing, anything you feel awkward about, because again, it doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
So I literally will say, well, I'm gonna call Tim next. Like, I tell the wife, like, I'm gonna call your husband next. Like,
Yeah, great chatting with you. Now I'm gonna call your hubby.
Yeah.
Do you need anything from the grocery store that I can tell them?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, if you do that, that's just smooth.
I'm like putting them on a different, maybe a week later or something like that, and it's just a pain because I gotta remember.
and that's just because your fear is that you don't sound authentic. So just tell them that you're calling the other one.
Yeah, I'm here a lot, just like humanize it.
Yeah.
You feel weird about it, say it.
Do they ever say, oh, you don't need to call them because you're on the phone with me?
No.
But what if they did? Like,
That's true. Right,
You know,
what I
when
mean?
you-
Yeah.
So what?
right.
What else, guys? Okay, cool. Well, this was awesome. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. I mean,
We're all open books, so
yeah, yeah.
now we call us.
Just with the way the market was last fall and the way that it could be this next fall, what was the one thing that you cut? The biggest expense that you cut?
The base. Well,
She had her vendors pay for everything.
Every single thing that comes, costs with, we're tracking it, so we're saying, I just don't want any of those costs. If there's someone else that can pay for it, then let's get them on board. Is there somebody else that wants to be a part of this event that we're, by paying for it ourselves, we're not allowing them to be a part of it? There's out there that want.
Your most efficient and effective marketing is free to you. So double down on that.
I would say too, on an annual basis, I'm looking at the tools I'm paying for and I'm seeing where I'm putting my money. So as the business has evolved, I doubled down. I knew every other agent out there, but
We did the exact same things. The downtown Minneapolis market has been down since 2020. We have been in that compressed market, market, and we did cut back a little bit on our marketing in 2020. After that, though, it was full steam ahead. We knew we had to work with staff with marketing, and maybe we did little things like our big end of the year collection book. Still sent it out. We cut the number of pages though, because every page that you add in that book is exponential cost added for postage and everything. Our mailers, we usually do nice soft touch on it. Just kind of did the basic math coding. We didn't do that little extra part. Instead of sending 12 out a year, I sent 10. But we did not stop the marketing. One thing we did stop for some events, but I will admit, our events are not no cost for us. They're pretty expensive for us, so we did cut them and we are slowly adding.
Well, I feel like we're in completely different, we're in different markets, so your marketing techniques are so different from mine. I'm in Elk River, it's like small town community, and she's in downtown, where her mailers are gonna be great. Our mailers were off. We sent out 12 mailers a year and we were getting nothing from it. So last year, we decided, let's cut the mailers and let's door knock the neighborhood and make an extra phone call and just half the mailers.
Double down on what has historically.
Boom,
for you.
there it
Well,
is.
and it only works if you're tracking,
Yes.
right? So you have to track everything. The other thing I'll just say really quick is, your broker admin commission, we up ours by $200.
We do too.
And that small amount, one, if you can charge $4.99, you can charge $6.99. Like, it's the exact same conversation. I've never had anyone balk at it.
Most other brokerages are charging a higher.
Oh, yeah. And so that's $200 per file. And actually our team has already pre-allocated where all of that's going. We pay people, and this is now becoming a bigger source of our business. We give them a gift card for $75 if they leave us a review within 3 weeks of their closing. And the review has to have 3 sentences to it. So like, this is just part of our system where it automatically goes out and they know that they're gonna get a $75 gift card. And what do you know? They actually paid for that gift card through their broker admin team. So there's ways that you can structure it. And to get vendors really quick, Ellie, to pay for things, you need to track, like, we've given our window guy 8 referrals this year. Right? Like, sure as shit, I'm hitting him up when we do our next event and being like, hey, Brandon, I've given you 8 clients that bought thousands of dollars of windows with me this year, right? So you have to track it though.
Yeah, our big collection book, half of that cost is paid for by the vendors that advertise. We give them page ads in there. And there are best contractors, photographers, anyone that advertise who are clients. They want to get in front of our clients. So you have to give them a value.
And make sure when you are referring those people, that you're making that connection. You're saying, hey, I just sent such and such over to you, or here's their phone number. Otherwise.
Give a referral how you want to receive one. I always do a group text. Then it's very clear, this is my referral, my client, they're gonna be well taken care of. And that reinforces to my client that I am the person for all things your home.
All right, on that note, we're going to wrap up. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. I heard a lot of themes within here, but ultimately, I think that the biggest thing is just if you don't know what to do, just start. Get with your marketing center tech trainer, sit down. Let's talk about how you can download stuff, where you can get contacts from, how to input them, and then just start basic.
Put it on your calendar. I think the biggest thing that I've learned over the years is if I leave something like this, you have to have implementation time. Don't just leave here and don't do anything. Right now, before you walk out of the room, put it on your calendar.
Great advice.
And don't implement 10 new ideas.
One.
One.
Awesome.
Get good at that.
Right, round of applause. Thank you.